Hey everyone, I told you I was going to make an attempt at trying to clean some money, and I did. I just want to show you the process. First and foremost, let me say to you guys, please do not attempt to clean your money. Just like cleaning coins, more damage can be done than good. I simply had that huge stack of notes, and there was a couple that weren't that great, so I decided I was going to experiment on them. I did that knowing that no matter how bad I screw it up, I can still take it to the bank and get my money back, which was my thought process anyway. And then so many of you guys reached out and wanted to save those notes. I thank you for doing that. Every note that was worth keeping found a home, so thank you guys. But this is about how to make the attempt at cleaning notes. Some of the things you're going to need. First of all, you're going to need a container. I used hot water in here. One of the other things you're going to need is some type of soap. Now, it's interesting because notes are not paper, okay? They're actually a cotton and linen blend, which means that they're actually a cloth. So you would think that you would want to use a laundry detergent, except laundry detergents are harsh. Also, a lot of laundry detergents contain a little bit of bleach. So you don't want to have bleach or any harsh chemicals inside or on your notes. That's going to destroy them. You don't want that at all. So what I would recommend is the most gentle thing I can come up with, Dawn. This is Dawn antibacterial. If it's safe enough to clean a duck in an oil spill, it's safe enough for my notes. Another thing that you might want to use potentially would be maybe baby shampoo. That's supposed to be gentle. Those are the things that you're not looking for abrasive stuff. You're not looking for harsh chemical stuff. You're looking for stuff that, well, let's face it, if it's good enough to use on yourself, it's good enough to use on these notes. You don't want anything that's going to cause any damage, or I should say any further damage to the notes. So what I did is I filled up my container about half an inch full. This is with as hot water from the tap. That's all. Nothing special about it. It's as hot as it'll come from the tap. I threw a couple drops of the detergent in there, Dawn, and I let that sit. The other things you're going to need, I would go with a Q-tip. Q-tip has a very soft edge. It is cotton. The notes are cotton. Cotton on cotton. I guess that's okay. And of course, you're going to want some paper towel. So let me get this stuff out of the way. Another thing you're going to want is a hard plastic card. Essentially, this is a credit card or a room key from the hotel. That's all this is. It's definitely hard. It's firm. And you're also going to want a table that is also hard and firm. So what I did, first step is I grabbed two notes, and we'll take a quick peek at these just so you can see them side by side. You can see this one is dirty. It's got numerous creases. It's got some hard creases on the side here. I have a picture of this as well. And then we'll use this one as our control note. Also, fairly dirty. Is that a pinhole there or something? Yep. Some hard creases, some dirt on it. You can see it's got all this on the back there as well. What I would like to do is, let's see. We'll use this one. We'll see if we can do anything. Well, I don't think that's going to come out. We'll try it anyway. We're going to use this one here. What you're going to do is you're going to take the note and you are going to put it in the water. You want to make sure that the note is fully covered. And instead of touching it with your fingers, you can take the Q-tip to make sure that that is down there. Make sure that it's completely covered. Okay. Once the note has been, you want to let the note soak for a good 20-30 minutes or so. You want to agitate the water every once in a while just so that everything is there. And after the note has absorbed a bunch of the water and a bunch of the cleaning, you want to very carefully give it a little once over with the Q-tip. All you're doing is just removing any of the fine dirt that's on top. You want to do this evenly across the entire note, otherwise you're going to get blotches. And I'm just kind of going through this relatively quickly. What I really want to do is I want to flip this over on the back, and I want to check out this stain here, because this should be interesting. I don't know if any of that's going to come out or not, but we're going to try something. Okay, so generally speaking, when you do this, you're using warm water, a little bit of soap, and you're not going to do what I'm doing now. You're not going to go into it right away. You're going to let it sit there for, 15, 20 minutes before you do anything to it. If anything, just give it a little shake so the water can get a little bit of motion on there. Just agitating the water on occasion. Now, I start off with the water as hot as it can go, and once the water is down to room temperature, that's pretty much a good time to stop. At that point, you're going to want to take the note out, and you're going to want to put that onto a paper towel. But I want to try one other thing. What I've got here is isopropyl rubbing alcohol. This is 70%. You can get it up to 90% if I recall. And if you have an ink stain, I have heard that it will take out the ink stain. Now, I'm not sure what this is on the back here, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of this in here just to see what happens. If I put that right onto the stain itself, and of course it's being diluted by the water, but by pouring it directly there, maybe that'll help. And let's see what happens if I do a little bit of a rub on there. Don't know what's going to happen. I'm just giving it a try. I did try some of the rubbing alcohol on a counter stamp, and it didn't remove it completely, but I will show you that result shortly. Okay, so yeah, not a whole lot of stuff going on with that. But anyway, for ink stains, rubbing alcohol is a method you can try. And since I am just doing this relatively quickly, you're not going to see a whole lot of result here. After you had completely washed the bill and completely dried the bill, you could then take out the water, replace it with alcohol, and then let the bill soak for 24 hours. I did that with one of the other bills, and I'm going to show you the result with that one. But with this bill, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it. We're going to assume that this bill was sitting in here for at least 20 to 30 minutes. You gave it a once over with the Q-tip, and I'm just putting that right here onto the paper towel, and we're gonna pat this dry. Take this, put it inside the paper towel so we can get the front and back done, and patting it dry. This takes out the bulk of the water. But once again, we have to remember we're dealing with a cloth, okay? We're not dealing with paper. We're dealing with a cloth. So because there is a cloth there, that means that water has gotten in between the fibers, which is the whole point. Getting the water in between the fibers to remove the dirt that's been ingrained in this bill for who knows how long. So that's when the next part of this comes in. So now what we've done is we've put water inside and in between all of those fibers. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this card. And this card, as you can see, is wider than the note. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start at the center, and I'm going to hold this down, and I'm going to very lightly give it some pressure, and I'm going to force this bill flat. Now, some of you are probably thinking I'm scratching the hell out of this note. Very well could be, but what I'm actually doing is I'm compressing all the fibers back down together. I'm putting all those fibers so that they lay back together the way that they were supposed to be, rather than bulging out like a sweater. Do it a couple times that way, and we're going to go a couple times this way. Now, you want to be on a hard, clean surface so that you can do this. A bathroom sink works real good if you've got a wide enough countertop. Now, once you do it on that side, of course, you want to pick it up and do the other side as well. Just going to give it a press. The card is nice because it does have a little bit of flexibility in there, so when you do it, you can give it a little bit of pressure. And like I said, you are more concerned about getting the excess water and smoothing out this bill while you do it. And like I said, I'm not gonna worry about that stain right now because I've got a much better version to show you. Once you've got the majority of the water removed from this, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab a couple books. The thicker the better, and you're going to want to put this in between the books for about 24 hours. And if you put them in there for about 24 hours, when you pull them out, you should have a much better conditioned bill. So I'm going to set this off to the side. I want to wipe this stuff down here just to make sure. And let me show you some stuff. Here's the bill that I didn't touch compared to the one that I just gave a little bit of a soaking to. You can see a little bit of a difference in the color. Let me grab this. Let's see if I can show you this. All right, here is a picture of a couple bills. And let me show you this one right here. You can see the serial number on this one, F972029494A. And you can see this bill here has a counter stamp on it. A counter stamp is when they put the notes in a 100, and they put the strap on there. And when they stamp the strap, they miss, and they actually get it on the note. So I took a picture of this note just so you can see how deep this counter stamp was. This was one of the notes that I had cleaned 2 days ago. Actually, I will just, here, we'll go like this for the time being. And what I did was, first I cleaned that note. Then I soaked that note in the rubbing alcohol for 24 hours. When it came out, I then washed it one more time, basically rinsing the note out. Then I put it between the two books. So if I grab my two books, I actually cleaned two notes, but I want to show you what the result was. The first note, this one, you can hear that. It's actually crisped up quite a bit. This note had writing on it, and I wanted to see how much of the writing would come out with the alcohol. Now, if you look at this note really close, you can see that there's all kinds of it's not perfect in any way, at all, but it did bring back that stiff quality, which is pretty interesting. Now, the other note that's in here, see the serial number, is the note with that counter stamp. Now, if you look really close, you can still see the remnants of that counter stamp right there. And the counter stamp actually went through. And once again, you can just barely make out the remnants of that counter stamp. Now, at a glance, this note does show signs of where there were creases. It still shows dirt on it that didn't come out, but also fairly crisp, which was pretty impressive. Does have still that major crease, so you're not going to get that out. Now, some of you may wonder why I put the notes between two books. By putting them between two books, I have already pretty much dried them out, and by letting the books do all the work, I don't risk damaging the notes if I was to use an iron. A lot of people suggest using an iron. I do not think it's a good idea to take something that hot and put it on something this old and this fragile. I am not a fan of that at all. If you want to experiment, go right ahead. I do not recommend that because you know how easy it is to burn a shirt. Imagine with something that's actually worth quite a bit of money. So yeah, that's what I ended up doing, and I'm pretty impressed by the result. I mean, if I got this note in circulation, I'd be keeping this, I think. Same thing with this note here. This note, even after the attempt at removing the numbers, this is much lighter as far as the ink goes. My alcohol was only 70%. I'm sure if I used 90%, it may have come out a little better. But that's just an idea of what can happen. And once again, comparing these, this is the one that was just in there momentarily. You can take a quick peek at these side by side. This, of course, is the one that had the full cleaning. This is the one I just used for experimental purposes. And, of course, this one here is a comparison of doing nothing. So, yeah, I was pretty pleased with the results. I don't recommend trying this with anything that's really important, unless, of course, you've had all kinds of practice. I do not know what an actual dealer would say if you brought a note in this condition cleaned like that to them. I don't know if they know that it was cleaned. It does have a very smooth texture now. Well, compared to what it was, compared to the rough texture of this. I mean, if I shake this one, you can see how limp that is. And this one has that wiggle. I like that. So that's what I've got for you this week, guys. I told you I'd show you how I did it. Do I recommend it? Not necessarily, because like I said, I don't know how a dealer's going to feel about that. As a collector, I think they came out pretty good. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next week.